Hey, I'm Rebel from the Adventures of Rockit and Rebel. Today I was in a group on Facebook and one of our members had a question and it was about a story that they had written, specifically their story, and they were asking for critiques and advice on how to write it. And I've seen this stuff in other groups, and in this group particularly, people asking advice about how to write things or how their stuff looks or how it comes across. And unfortunately, a lot of people are into this whole thing about sharing value and making friends and all this. Absolutely critical to your business? Yes. On the other hand, you got to understand that the first thing that someone sees that of you may be the last thing that they ever see, especially if it's boring. You see, people are not anymore at night on the television watching infomercials and stuff like that. What they're doing is flipping through Facebook and news feeds and all this other stuff on social media. So odds are that may be the last time they ever hear from you. And so you've got to make your story or your article or your video or whatever pop. You got to make it sizzle. You got to make it exciting and interesting to the person, or they're just going to be clicking right through your stuff like they're deleting emails or something. You know what I mean? So anyway, this is the way it started out, and it says my story. Point number one. There's no title. Now, this is actually just someone getting advice, so it may not be what they're going to call it. Not my story, okay? That's boring. Someone's thinking, my story. Well, we all got one, and they move on. So you're going to want to write your headline. Yes, it's a headline for the story. And you're going to want to write that after you do the entire story, because as you're writing the story, things will come out into your consciousness that it'll be like, wow, that's really something that I can use that grabs attention. And you're going to want to use that, right? So anyway, it starts out, I always knew there was more to life than clocking into a mediocre job, having only 2 weeks of vacation, and feeling constantly overwhelmed by the day-to-day. It's very windy out here, by the lake. Hang on. And then it goes on. There are two sides to each coin we flip. Growing up, we are told that one side is comfortable and safe, and while the other is risky and uncertain. And so far, that's pretty good. It sounds pretty much like every other story, and that's where they lose people, is if it sounds like everybody else, if there's nothing really going on, once again, then they click off and they're gone to do something else. So if you hang on for just a second, I took 2 minutes and I said, how can I make this a little bit more interesting if this is me? And it's interesting that we had a conversation, Rockit and I, and she's telling me, well, this is her story, you know. And I said, yeah, I understand that. But see, Rockit, you're sitting there and that's you. But if you're going to go out to the park, you're going downtown or something, you're going to put on a nice blouse and a leather vest. You're going to put on a skirt and some high heel boots. And you're going to roll out with your sash and your little satchel there that you hold stuff in, and your steampunk goggles. And now, that's you. But you're presenting it in an entirely different way. That's what you walk by and people will take a look instead of just, you know, like you're in Walmart or something, seeing everybody else go by. So anyway, this is what I started out. Still no title, because you know you write the whole thing first. And here is where I started it. Imagine your life as a coin. On one side of the coin are the words comfort and safety. On the other, risk and uncertainty. Growing up, most of us are told that it's one or the other. But life is always uncertain, isn't it? You're not guaranteed tomorrow. So why not make the most of today? If risk is a natural part of every day, why not embrace it and use it to speed your progress towards your dreams? Hi, I'm fill in the name. I started out pretty much like everyone else, but I always knew there was something more. Something more than clock into my mediocre job 9 to 5 every day. ... Now, if you see, it's the same story, but you start out with the headline that could be a tweet or it could be a thing on Facebook as the lead into your post, and then it draws the first paragraph. You want to grab someone's attention and lead them to read the entire thing. And while it is the same story, you can tell your story much better because everything you do has a purpose. and it's to lead someone to follow you, to want more of you, to opt into your email list, and ultimately to serve them at the highest way possible, which is the highest offer of product or service that you have. So you're constantly leading someone down a path to where you can do them the most good. And if you focus on everything that way, you'll get a lot further with everything you do online. So there it is. That's my 2 cents on this one. I'm Rebel from the Adventures of Rockit and Rebel, and take note of those tips. You'll do much better with your stories. I'm out.